Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. This week's episode was recorded half in October and half in March, last week. And we are talking to Jade Catta-Preta. The first half is about Jade being so much gayer now and how she's living her life and loving it. And the second half is Jade getting her diagnosis recently of perimenopause, which we've talked about briefly before. It is the right before stage of menopause. It can happen in your 40s. It can happen in your 30s. Jade's going through it now. So we're going to talk all about that. And there are mention of suicidal ideation in this. We talk about some body stuff. There is sexual assault brought up. If any of that triggers you, as always, give yourself grace, take a break, or ignore the episode completely. If you just want to skip ahead to the perimenopause stuff, that's at minute 50. So anything that works for you. But this is a very educational and very fun episode, and can't wait for you to hear it.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
We have comedian, actress, friend of the pod. You have heard her before on, I think, season 2. Welcome, Jade Catta-Preta.
Pow, 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 pow. Hey, bros, what's up?
Hey.
Hi, good to be here.
Are you ready?
My braid's all wet already. Let's go.
Yeah, literally, you guys, before we start, Jade comes into my house and she's like, hey, before we begin, can I dry my braid? She's got this sopping wet braid.
My braid's thick and it's making me all wet.
I love a thick braid. It's all about girth. Thick, wet braid.
I just love a nautical look in the fall, you know?
It's doing wonders. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
We haven't seen each other in such a long time. And you reached out to me the other day being like, I'm going to be in New York. I'm so much gayer now. I would love to talk on the podcast. And I was like, fuck yeah, Jade.
I feel like it's so, the last time we did it with Emma and Ashley.
Yep.
And I had such a internal homophobia for myself still at that moment.
Okay, so explain that more to me, because I think I know exactly where you're going. And I think I've had the same exact feelings about myself.
Yeah, we've been talking and we're like, whoa, we're mirror versions of ourselves. Yeah. So I always have been a little bit gay. Mm-hmm. I like all these bits about it now, but in college I would always hook up with girls. I would get drunk and hook up with girls, did that thing for a long time and helped a lot of people come out of the closet.
Yeah.
And then I felt this inner hate. I remember when I would hear Cameron Esposito specifically, I'd be like, we get it. Stop
You're
talking
gay.
about being gay.
Yeah.
Your whole thing is about being a lesbian. And then I think I just had this internal need to be a part of it.
Well, because you were probably angry because you were jealous.
Yeah, definitely.
You were like, oh, you're so fully yourself. And yes, I am down to help other people come out. I feel like that's the Dylan Adler has a joke about how he's like, this is an impression of me when I was younger. We need to be better allies.
Yeah, literally.
To our gay and lesbian friends or whatever. And I feel like that's where a lot of people do start, because they're like, oh, I can show empathy to other people, and I don't think that anything about this is wrong. However, there is still a homophobia, and people are very, they don't understand that phobia doesn't mean scared. It just means ugh.
Yeah, that's the perfect sound of it.
And it's oh yeah, it's fine for other people, but if it were me, I couldn't handle that.
But I always dreamt about it and or thought that I was living a very gay lifestyle, even though I kept dating men. I felt like I kept getting stuck in relationships with men where I would mommy them almost in a weird way.
Yeah.
And then I started being oh, I'm starting to date men that I want to be like now. My last relationship showed me who I wanted to be, the daddy I wanted to be.
Hot boy.
A hot boy.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a hot boy. That's who I think I am. I think I work in money. I work in finance. I'm an investment bro. Yeah, that's who I think I am. It's almost as if I was in the closet and the closet was burning and I was like, everyone get out. I'll stay in here and burn. Yeah. I'll stay in here and burn by myself and tell everybody I'm gay anyway. But yeah, it's been nice. I had this overwhelming anxiety that I felt all the time. And I still have it about career and the world and stuff. But I do have a calmness that is hard to explain. And I think it is because of all the
You've settled
pussy
more
that I've been
into
eating. Yeah. I mean, the one, but
the one. Yeah. You've been in a relationship for a year.
Almost, yeah. Well,
you posted your anniversary.
no, that was her birthday. Aniversario means birthday in Portuguese.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know you said Happy Annie. I was like, I'm just going to go with it.
But I mean, I was still saying the right thing.
Yeah, you were.
I said Annie.
Yeah, that's cute.
I wasn't like, wonderful
Yeah,
relationship
thank
for
God
a
for this
year.
year-long relationship. You feel like yourself.
Yeah. I'd be like, Jade, delete that. I'm an idiot.
No. Yeah, it's funny how it becomes a real, like it's real now. It's on Insta. But yeah, it's been like official only technically like 4 months, but it's been longer. I mean, we should be married with a dog by now, but
Well, yeah. How did you guys meet?
we met at like a Wagyu event, which is so funny. My friend, one of my best friends is a big deal chef, and they just won a Michelin star and all this stuff. And she was like, come to this event. I brought my dad.
Great.
Then my dad's talking to this hot girl. I'm like, who's he talking to?
He found her for you?
He was like talking to her. I saw her when she kind of came in, and I was like, okay, interesting.
Cute.
And then they were speaking Japanese, and I was like, it's over. Like, who is this girl?
That's amazing. Kawaii ne?
Yeah, kawaii.
Kawaii. Had you had broken up with your ex how long before that?
It was like early December that I had broken up with him, and it was the second time I broke up with him. And I was like, I'm gay, and he's like, it's cool. Like, you can see women. And I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I
would like to have like emotional relationships.
Yeah, I don't want to be like
them.
on field going like, I'm dating this dude, but like, you want to connect emotionally.
Yeah.
And I like, yeah, I wanted to date, but I wasn't really ready to date seriously. So that was difficult because I met her and I was like, oh, wow, I really want to date her seriously. But
had you been hooking up with girls in the interim between them?
yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
great.
I went on a spree.
Yeah.
And in the beginning I was like, hey, I kind of need some time to kind of figure this out and like get it out of me. I went to Brazil. I was like, I need to get some stuff out of my system. And
Did
then
you use apps to meet those women?
in Brazil
In general?
No, I was just kind of going out and like feeling eyesight.
Cool.
Like just being like, are we connecting? And then I just coming out. I was like, just be as brave and like abrasive as you can be. I would just come up to people and be like, should we kiss? That was my line. I told Allie the other day, Allie Colbert, she was like, Jade, that's so dumb. I'm like, it worked. She's like, that didn't work. I'm like, it fucking worked.
That sounded like her.
But yeah, right. It didn't work. But I think that I just wasn't ready, like commit yet. But my thing is like, if I'm not emotionally connected, it's like not really for me.
Right. There have been a lot of times where Ben and I have had the conversation where I'm like, I want to hook up with girls. And he's like what your ex said, yeah, go for it. And then I ended up being like, well, no, I think what I really want is like a girlfriend. And he's like, well, Remy, you can't have a girlfriend when you have a boyfriend. Like this isn't, he's like, unless we're both open, and I don't think you would like if I were doing that. And I was like, I would hate that.
No, thanks. I can do it, but you can't.
No, I know there's some people that structure works for them, but like,
What is it? E&M?
yeah. Oh, E&M is just like the umbrella term for any
just
ethical
Gen Z.
non-monogamy.
Yeah.
But there are some couples where it's like, oh yeah, you can go out, I'm not going to. He was like, we would not be one of those couples. And also I think if I were to be in a relationship with a woman, I would want a woman who just wanted me as well.
Yeah.
You know? And so unfortunately and fortunately, Ben and I are still in love.
Ugh, I love it. You guys have been dating forever.
Forever.
You guys are very cute. I knew you before you came.
I know. We were
I was there.
talking about you, me, and Napoleon. We're sitting on the bench.
I love Napoleon
And
so much.
I was like, yeah, you guys, I like have this thing and I think I'm going to start a podcast about it. And you guys were both like, what the fuck, Remy?
I remember that exact moment.
Yeah. But I would say like you and your ex as well. And this is something I have not shared with the How Come audience yet. Except for on Patreon. So you guys sign up because you can hear things 2 years in advance. I did break up with Ben at one point because I was like, listen, I need to explore this and I really just want to hook up with women. And it was half me wanting to do that, but also half me, again, not feeling gay enough and having come out and, I know myself fully, but also feeling so fraudulent because I was like, I haven't had enough experiences to tell people to live fully when I feel like I haven't done it yet.
That's the bi problem. Like nobody respects you.
Right.
Like I used to be with Nick. When I was with Nick, I'd be like, I'm bi. And he's like, why do you keep saying that you're bi? Like you're with me. I'm like, because that's how I...
Wait, hold this. Just don't touch the cord.
Sorry, I really
It's
like
okay.
to touch the balls.
I know.
Like that's how I identify. But that was like in an age before like, gender, like sexuality
We
was
knew
an
about the
identifier.
spectrum. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're bi, that meant you were like hooking up with women on the side or whatever that
Right.
meant. And I had a really big problem with that because I always felt like I'm not fully myself if I'm just with a dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not me at all.
Yeah. And what ended up happening was we were only broken up for like 2 weeks max or whatever. But in
Baby
that 2
breakup.
weeks, I went to a party and there was a woman who was interested in me and trigger warning. She kind of like, we were talking about the fact that I broke up with him in order to fulfill
Explore.
this exploration. But I was also in a very vulnerable place. I was still sad about the breaking up of it all.
Yeah.
And someone at the party had told her I was cool. And
Yeah.
she went right for me. And I wasn't totally into it. But I also was like, let me just get this out of the way so I can get back together with my boyfriend. Like, so I can like,
You needed it
say
under your
that
belt.
I did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, the kissing was fine. And then we moved into a room where I was kind of like, yeah, I don't really want to be doing this anymore. And she didn't let me leave. And so
Jesus.
I kind of resorted to the thing that I did way, way back in the day with men, which was just do the thing, get it done so that you can leave.
This is horrible.
It was not good. And I felt very...
I thought you were going to say, then I kicked her in the pussy and ran out.
And then I kicked her in the pussy and ran out.
But
no, but
that's horrible.
No, and I you know, did some stuff that I was trying, and
Yeah.
I, you know, never sequester somebody to a room, especially when they're like, I don't want to be doing this
Absolutely
anymore.
not, especially knowing where they are emotionally, like where
Yeah.
they might not be able to go, hey, no, I'm not cool with this.
Yeah.
I don't want you to have like a negative association with it because of it. you
Yeah.
know?
And I did tell Ben about it, and he was like, listen, if you're going to be exploring, like, I don't want you to be being taken advantage of. That's not the point of this.
Yeah. Have you guys explored like maybe something where you're both together?
No. We did that once way, way back in the day, and I wasn't attracted to the girl. Like it was another experience of just doing things to do them. It reminds me that, you know, lots of genders can make you feel sexually uncomfortable, but also not to define, like, I don't think that that's every gay experience.
Oh no, absolutely not. But there is a lot of more awkwardness in that way because like nobody teaches you like who leads. Mm-hmm. Like, am I a top? There's a lot of like, who am I? Am I a top? Am I a bottom? Like,
Yes.
who initiates it? Like,
Yes.
there's a lot of.
But
women,
also, if somebody's like, let me out of the room,
let them out of the
let
room.
them out of the room, no matter if you're a top or a bottom.
Ugh, it's such a bummer. I'm sorry that happened.
Thanks. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. But now I don't want you to like every time you see a pussy have like a little like.
No.
Okay, good.
Not
as long
at
as you don't have
all.
like a negative association with
No,
women.
and
because
also
of it.
I just think that's not the right reason to hook up with people, is just to like solidify your sexuality.
Right. I definitely had a little bit of that moment too,
Okay.
though, where I was like, I have to sleep with as many women as possible.
Yeah.
To feel like I know what I'm doing. And I also have this thing where like, I had a period where I was with women before this last dude where like I was bad in bed. Like just because I wasn't
Who
confident.
told you that?
I know now because I know that I'm really good in bed now.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And then I'm like, I wish I could go back and call them and go like, hey, I swear I'm good now.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to like become who I am now. And I'm almost 40, you know? And I thought I was like this very open, like
Yeah.
bi person, but I wasn't. Like
Yeah.
the reality was like, I needed to be fully gay and living a
Yeah.
full lifestyle. Like being with a woman in my everyday life, like it just feels
better.
Like I feel this calmness that is like hard to explain. And there's all these moments I laugh about, like when I was like in Fun Home and I was like hysterically crying. Like I've talked about that.
Yeah.
When she's like talking about being gay, I'm like crying. And my ex was like, you okay? I'm like, I love musicals. And I just had this like,
I just really empathize with this person that I'm not like at all.
yeah, I'm just jealous that she gets to be gay in this play.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of moments where I felt like I would have these dreams where I was going like, I'm gay. And it's like kind of annoying too, because when you're bi and you say you're bi, nobody does like, oh, good for you. Like there's no coming out.
There's no good
it's
for you.
anticlimactic. It's like, okay.
They go, isn't everyone? And you're like, if everyone is, then come out.
Then everyone say it. But yeah, there is sort of this like, I don't know, disillusionment with it, like where it's like pick a lane or like you just get to have it all, like you're you know. But yeah, so I don't really know how to label myself right now because I'm in a relationship with a woman now and that feels right. And I almost feel like I can't imagine myself with a man at this moment or anybody else.
Would you still categorize yourself as bisexual then?
I would go with pan.
Okay, so why? Because initially I was like, Jade, I'm going to introduce you as my bisexual Brazilian babe, and you were like, okay, but pan.
I don't know. I hate the title bisexual. I'm just going to say it, guys. I'm so sorry. No, bisexuals get respect because I feel like it doesn't include non-binary people in a weird way.
So that's not true, and that's why I came out as pan first because not first, but you know, when I came out to everybody, I was like, yeah, like I think bi or probably pan because I like non-binary people and that's all cool or whatever. But that's not what the definition is. Bi doesn't just mean two. I looked it up for us.
Give us a definition because I feel like this is a good thing to crack.
It's a good thing to crack. Bi, oh God. I was going to say by and large. Bi and pan are a Venn diagram with a large area of overlap. People can use these terms to mean different things, but most commonly bi people would say they experience attraction to multiple genders, while pansexual people would say they experience attraction regardless of gender or despite gender.
That's kind of how I feel.
So it's like I would say bi for me now because I still do take gender into account.
Interesting. Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I guess I do too. But my thing is like, I have a joke about it where I'm like, I fuck souls.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And people are like, you can't. I'm like, but people fuck ghosts. So watch me. Like mine is, it really is like a whole bigger spec. Like, for example, the person I'm dating now, like she identifies as she, her, but I think if you looked at her, you'd be like, oh, maybe she's non-binary or maybe this. And that really pisses her off because she feels like that makes the spectrum of what a woman can be smaller.
100%.
Right? Like as women, we can like have facial hair. We can do this. Like I grew my mustache out for a month. It was the biggest deal. That's all I could talk about.
Was it wispy or was it full?
It was thick.
Nice.
Like it was thick. I looked in the mirror and I just felt like it was like this thing that I like wanted for myself. And I was so ashamed of hair. Like to the point where it would like paralyze me. Like if I had like nipple hair and I remember being like, so ashamed of it and like so embarrassed by it. And there's all these people that are like, they were really into it.
Yeah.
And so I wish that I had given myself that self-love earlier on.
Yeah.
Into like, this is who I am instead of being like, who. And I think that's because I was an immigrant. And I was like having to assimilate already to a whole culture.
Oh, for sure.
So to on top of it be like this gay weird kid, like no fucking way.
Like, you're like
that was just not in the books.
Many things.
Yeah, like that wasn't a choice for me at all.
Yeah,
like, and that road just slowly presented itself over. I mean, I went to Emerson's, like everyone's gay, nobody cared.
In Mass?
Yeah, gay by May. That's what they say.
Yeah.
I helped a lot of people come out, believe me. But yeah, I just wish that I had found this sooner because it's making a lot of other things align. And then I also have like I have a lot of like fucking trauma from comedy that I'm trying to overcome too. Like we started in a time where it was like brutally abusive towards women.
Yeah.
And we didn't have like the, you know, support of all the dudes had. And so I'm like kind of angry now at that. And I'm like angry at stand up. And then I have to do it and I'm supposed to love it. And I'm supposed to feel super lucky. And like I do. And I have gratitude, but then I also have like trauma. And then it's hard to like fight for something where I feel like I wasn't wanted for such a long time.
For sure. Also, it was hard for there to be camaraderie amongst women because it was like, at least when I started, it would be like, okay, you're the one woman for the show.
Oh, yeah.
So you felt like if you thought another woman was really funny, you'd be like, oh, she's really funny. Oh, we're in competition.
She's going to take your spot.
You know, you can't like, whereas all of the guys who podcast together regularly and tour together regularly, they are amplifying each other and lifting each other up and constantly writing jokes together. And like, it's not a competition because of course there's space for all of them.
There's 15 spots for you, one spot for a woman.
Yeah.
You know, it's changed a little bit. Like Loca, if you guys haven't joined, if you're a female comic, please do join. And there is like more support. I take women on the road. I had never been taken out on the road by a woman ever. I begged all of them.
See, I will say a lot of women have given me shots to open for them or taken me with them. Yeah.
And now that I'm gay, there's a different feeling towards me, I think. I feel like there's not that thread of like, you're not going to suck my boyfriend's cock, right?
Oh,
a little bit. Like even in the audiences, I feel it shifting. Like where, you know, they're like holding onto their guy and then I'm like, I love pussy. And they're like, no, you know what I mean?
Have them.
Yeah. And then they're like more like attentive. I'm like, okay, I see this. Like sexuality really shifts people's mind in that sense too.
Which is interesting because you're like, oh, you just assume that every woman is going to want your boyfriend. You just assume that every gay person's going to want to hook up with you.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's like, I think it's an insecurity and a stereotype that's like
totally
mildly correct.
Totally.
I don't know, you know?
And there's a ton of like, I think specifically for bi people or pan people too, there's compulsory heteronormativity that we're taught. And because we can fall into that category, we're like, let's just do that because that's easier.
Yeah.
Whereas I do think, and I'm not saying you would ever break up with your girlfriend, God forbid, but I think
I don't see that happening. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. I think if you were to and you were to start dating a man after, you would feel more secure in your bisexuality. So it would make that relationship to be easier too. But again, not advising this and hope it doesn't happen. And hope it doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was very, very insecure in male relationships, like very jealous. I'm still a little bit jealous. I still have a little bit of like leftover, you know, trauma from like,
I mean, if I identify as anything, it's jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
jealous little bitch.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I mean, it's a bit, but it's less now. Like also I'm with a person she's very like, she loves the rules. You know, loves putting stuff in her calendar.
Do you guys have roles like top and bottom, or are you both?
No, pretty verse. Yeah. I think that I was definitely like the aggressor in the beginning, but I think I just needed to be. You know what I mean, like for myself. But I don't know. The whole thing, everything's changed for me, and now I just have to figure out like what's next. Like I feel kind of lost creatively in a weird way.
Why? Because you're not.
Because I feel like I'm being true to myself in a way where like I'm talking about the things I want to talk about in stand up, but I also don't feel like sometimes stand up is what I want to do.
And that's okay too.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's like I've put so much time in like what I actually want to do is music. And when I do it, I'm like, I'm alive. And then I like shy away from it because I'm still scared of that.
Yeah.
Of like, it wouldn't even be a transition, but it would be like, you know, a lot of effort.
I would see stand up as if you don't currently want to do it, just see it as a stepping stone to getting more comfortable to doing what you actually want to do.
Yeah. And like every set, if I sing a little bit, I'm like, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Like, you know how people always say like, there are no relationships that are a waste of time as long as you learn from them. Like your career wouldn't be a waste of time as long as you learn that that's something else that you want to do that's still performative. And
it is. Yeah. And what a journey we've been on. I'm like, how long I've known you for like probably 15.
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe 8 years.
No.
9.
When I was in New York.
Because I started in
9 or 10. So I started stand up 16 years ago at the Comedy Store.
Whoa.
And I would say that for the first like 5 years, I just was like blackout, not drunk, but just like didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like, was just like throwing myself up there.
Yeah.
I never had like any advice, no structure whatsoever. And then I took a comedy class like 3 years ago and I was like, oh my God, this is what it's like to have a community and people supporting you.
Yeah. And that becomes a lot of the addictive nature of it. And I mean, I always loved stand up, but getting into it, I was like, this is going to give me attention. And that's something that I'm kind of working on now, that I'm like, I want to be doing this because it like feels like the thing I should be doing and not because it's giving me external validation.
Interesting.
You know,
and also
like,
instant gratification, right? That's
course.
Another thing. Like,
you
work on a project for like a year before it even becomes a thing.
But you're gaining, I think, internal gratification because you're doing what you want and who you want.
Right.
And so it makes other things, it's like less important to be getting that attention in those areas because it's like, that's not where I get my validation anymore. I get it from myself and I get
It's weird.
Yeah.
That's such a good point. Like my life is actually like gratifying right now. So I don't have to escape into stand up. And like, it almost feels like dirty. I know that feels really weird, but like yesterday I was on stage and everyone's like, yeah, and cheering. And then I was like, this feels wrong to me. Like,
interesting.
It felt wrong in a way that I can't explain. Like I got up there and they were being rowdy. And they were like having fun, but I was like in my head, I go like, oh fuck, I have to do an hour of this. Like, and then it like towards the very end, I started to have fun, but it took me like 40 minutes of pushing like through. It's weird. It's almost like exercise.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I just want to be more collaborative. Like I want to do something where other people are involved. I don't necessarily like need to be in front of the camera. Like I want to make something that means something to me. like I'm really interested in like the psychology of stand-up and like why we do it and whether like we're born stand-ups and we're like a type of person or if we become those people from stand-up. And I'm like, I hate to be on the nose, but I'm a little jaded, you know?
That's okay. And
It's
you
true.
can diversify the portfolio. But
Yeah.
speaking of portfolio diversity, were there a lot of moves you had to learn when hooking up with a vulva versus a penis?
Yeah. Oh my God, so much.
And what were those and what was the difficulty level?
I think a lot of people that are like gay late in life, like kind of figure, because okay, my first experience with like being gay was just like hooking up and then like maybe grinding a little bit.
Yeah.
And then this one bitch like basically fucked me. Like she threw me down on the bed, like put my leg up and then like we grinded, like we tribbed.
Yes.
Which nobody ever knows what
Tribbing is the other word for scissoring.
Yes.
And it's just the more appropriate, like scissoring. Like nobody ever, I never want to say
people do
nobody.
I've scissor. Yeah, people scissor.
Right.
But you have to be like the same kind of body shape. Like it's very difficult to align.
And it's like your heads are on opposite sides of the bed. If you're in a true, that's not true.
No, you
could
can
sit
kind of
up
be
and
close.
scissor too.
Yeah. But like, so I was like, oh my God, like,
Listen to me disagreeing with myself.
no.
Well, actually, Remy,
Should we try it?
scissoring at my dad's house.
Close the door. At first, that's what I thought like I wanted to do every time. And I kept like trying and people were like, I've never really been into that. Like I kind of want to get fingered. And I was like, ew, why? Like, and I never really knew how to do it because I was always like kind of into like clitoral stimulation on myself.
Yeah.
And I never was like really into toys and like any of that. I could just come really quick from like rubbing my clit a little. And I was really into porn too. I didn't realize how addicted I was to visual stimulation. And then I started to sort of like explore as I hooked up with women. I would like put my fingers up and like sort of touch around and then like.
But you were comfortable playing with clits before you were comfortable going up.
Going in. Yeah. Like I would like try to sort of like, you know, like how you masturbate and you get like a good angle and you're like, oh, I'm really like, you know, when you can kind of feel the clit like getting harder.
Not anymore.
What do you mean?
I mean,
What's going
I
on?
come like once every 2 weeks. Or max.
I like how in touch you are with your coming. Like you have a cum journal
Yeah.
that you keep.
Yeah.
It's today I
this
came.
podcast.
There's somebody at home who puts a little star on their calendar every time they hear that you came. I used to masturbate like aggressively. Now I don't really. I mean, I'm in a relationship and we're just started dating, so we're having a lot of sex. But like, I just kind of bored with like masturbating on my clit, and then I figured out when I started fingering girls, I was like, oh my God, I can masturbate in a completely different way, and like sort of find the inside G spot in a completely different way. But you have to like be really far up.
And then you learned it on yourself.
And then I was like, oh my God, I can do it on myself.
Interesting.
So like with my left hand, I would have 2 fingers up, like really deep up, and then towards the wall, like towards yourself, and then I could play with my clit. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, it's hard.
Playing with your clit with the thumb.
With my right hand, with my middle
This
finger.
is a two-handed job.
Two-handed job. But I mean, I can't really fully do it the same way that I could do it with somebody else.
When you do it to somebody else, is it also a two-handed job?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Or if I'm eating them out and fingering them, you know.
Yeah.
But I like didn't realize how much I was like, oh my God, it turns me so much more on to be not the aggressor. That sounds horrible.
No.
But like the person the
initiator.
It really it turns me on to be like the top. Like to be the daddy. And then I would like come from just making them come. And then I was like, whoa. And then I was like, whoa.
Wait, so somebody, you're just touching them, they're not touching you, and you can come from that?
Yeah. Or like I'll like be on top and then I'll like grind on their leg.
Got it.
Right. So then I'm like
Hot.
Yeah. And I've noticed this is kind of weird, but like if I'm on my period and there's a tampon inside, love it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like already inside, so it's kind of like pushing up.
It's the pressure.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, cool. And then
And
slowly,
depending on the flow, the fullness.
there's also girth if it's a heavy day. So I was like, oh, whoa, like, and then I'm slowly I'm still figuring a lot of stuff out about my sexuality and like being with women and how I feel, and I feel like, I know I hate to be like, I feel more like the guy.
You feel like more of the traditionally masculine role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that for a long time with men, like I wanted that, but I didn't know where that lived.
Yeah.
Within the spectrum of like being with a guy. But I was in my head a lot. Like I remember constantly being like, we're having sex. Oh, well, like I have a joke about it where I'm like thinking about my grocery list and stuff. But I'm so much more focused and like connected, and it just feels, sex just feels like a completely different, and I was always in pain. Like from sex, like my pussy would always hurt.
And dry up.
Yeah, it would like, just like I would be having sex like because I really wanted to come, so I would just like have aggressive sex.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, kind of like, I don't even like, sometimes I don't come, but I'm like wet, like aggressively wet the whole time. And I'm like having these little like
convulsions.
shakes. Yeah. But like, I'm not maybe coming like, so it's just been exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been exciting. It feels like, I don't even know what the word is, but it just feels right.
What you were saying about like wanting to be the top or just like be a little more dominant, like that doesn't even need to be in a queer relationship. Like I feel like I have come into my own in other ways where like I instruct Ben to do a lot now.
I like that.
You know,
Yeah.
like I have tried to take out the things that are like, oh, you don't do that with men, where it's like I grab his butt a lot.
Oh,
like
I love guys'
I'll like
butts.
move his legs around sometimes, you know, like I give way more instruction where I always thought, you know, pre how come that I was like, oh, they tell you what to do.
Isn't that interesting? We grew up in a similar era. We're like the same age, right?
Yeah.
Late 30s. Are you younger than me? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm almost 40. And I grew up like in Charlottesville, Virginia after being in Brazil. So I was like very like open to sex, but then got really taken advantage of. And I think that I had a lot of like experiences with men that were traumatic early on. And I kept trying to repeat those situations where I would be finally in charge.
Yeah.
And that's not pleasant. That's not fun. That's not.
Do you think that because you were an immigrant and from Brazil specifically, that people thought you were more sexual or they sexualized you more? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like me and my friends who grew up in Charlottesville together, like I have like only 2 friends from high school still. We talk about it. We're like, oh my God. Like we thought that was cool. Like what was happening, right? These older dudes and like, yeah, I just have the stuff that I'm still working out through now is like the guilt. Like, if I could have been gayer sooner, like,
yeah,
I could have had so much fun. Like,
yeah.
And then I was also like in love with every friend, like the Fortune Feimster of like, she was my best friend.
For
like,
sure.
I definitely had that always.
Hard and fast friendships.
Oh my God. And I would be like devastated when they wouldn't take me to something and they would take somebody else.
Yes.
And I also just like, yeah, I still have like all these fantasies of like being young and like wishing that I had been like, let's just hook up.
Same.
But they would have been like, you're weird. They wouldn't have had a good reaction.
But like you literally also cannot use a time machine. And I started thinking about this recently. Like if I were to go back to high school, knowing what I know now and then hooking up with people, like if I still have my adult brain, like that's a pedophile.
I know it's like
that's
some people
not
would
okay.
kill Nazis and we're like, we'd go back and hook up with our high school
But
sweethearts.
I also wouldn't because it's like, that's not really fair for me to have that life experience and stuff. And so it's like, no, you can't use a time machine, but you can take advantage of the time that you have now. And you can like always like reroute your life and be like, okay, if I feel that way about high school, I don't want 50-year-old me to be thinking about me now with the same feelings.
No, it's like, I feel just so... Like I'm walking around holding her hand in New York, like with my dog. I'm just like, I feel so realized.
Yeah.
You know?
Your dad is the one who started talking to her first. Is he very accepting or your parents
they
really
don't care.
good? Okay.
I mean, I think that, they get offended now because I'm always wanting to talk about sex and being like overshare. I have like a weird thing where I have to like,
with
I
your
don't know why.
parents?
Yeah.
Jade.
Like, with everyone. I think it's a control thing. Like
Yeah.
I just feel the need, like this uncomfortable need to overshare. Like even my sister's married like a very Southern guy. They're so sweet. Their family's really like loving. And they had a birthday party for my niece and they had tiny mini horses. And one of the mini horses had like a huge dick. It was like dragging on the ground. And we're all like at the dinner table. I'm like, did you guys see that horse's dick? Like I couldn't stop talking. My sister was like, stop talking about the dick. Like, what is your problem? I'm like, I was like, I don't know why. Like I just had to talk. I think it's a control thing. Like when other people are uncomfortable, I'm comfortable because I'm in control.
Yeah. I have had it where like there'll be a dog shitting in the street and I'm like, oh, ew, look at that dog shitting. And my sister's like, I don't want to look at that dog shitting. Like, what the fuck?
Maybe it's a comic thing.
But do you, you're like, well, I have to call out something that I saw. So like, did anybody else?
I have like a compulsion. Like,
Yeah.
It's like,
but do you talk about your sex life with them?
oh, no.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say like in the very beginning, I think I was like with my sister's like, stop talking about having sex with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, I can't. I want everybody to know.
Yeah.
And she's like super private.
But would you
know?
ever speak about men in depth with her like that?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, not really. Like
Yeah.
it's like because I feel proud.
You're proud. Yeah.
I'm really
you
proud.
weren't proud then.
I'm really proud. And like I'm just proud of the smallest things. Like I'm proud of how how guys are like, I can't read your mind. Like women kind of can. Mm-hmm. Like in the morning when we're getting ready to leave the house, we're both just doing things and then everything's done. And then like we leave. It's like this weird.
It's only a certain brand of man who says I can't read your mind too, because it's like, what's it called? Willful incompetence there's something.
I'd watch that movie.
Willful incompetence. Yeah.
Starring
Dustin
dudes.
Hoffman and Meryl Streep. No, there's another word for it. I'm blanking on it right now, but it's like they pretend to be worse at stuff so that you won't make them do it.
Yeah.
Where like, I don't know, I'll even use it for myself. I'll be like, I'm so bad at washing the dishes. Like, I just don't get it.
Me too, I'm so bad.
And Ben's like, okay. Like, but I am better at it now. I do it better and I don't do that to him. But like, we're in a relationship where that guy can read my mind.
How long have you guys been together? You said
8 years.
8 years, long time.
Maybe 9 even.
That's long. I was
hooking
my longest
up for
one
9
was
at
8.
least, but together for 8. Yeah.
That's wild. No, just because like that time when I kind of met you was such a transitional time for me too. I was coming out of like a 7-8 year relationship and I was in a really bad place.
Yeah.
Like, which was weird because like, you have a friend who helped me really transition out of that.
Yeah.
That whole thing, like emotionally, he was just like, we really connected and it made me realize like, I am right to do this. Like I'm not with the right human, but I was so like brainwashed and like just wanting to be part of this thing because I put so much time into it. And like all my friends were getting married that had started dating at the same time.
Yes.
And I wanted him to ask me so badly.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't want it like broke my heart so intensely. But can you imagine?
No, and I think
horrible.
You were just wanting like the box checked.
I did.
You know, when really what you wanted was box.
Literally, $0, pun intended.
Pun very much intended.
Yeah, very much intended.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of people fall into that trap when they're just like, oh, I should be doing this. And I should, like the same way of me even being like, I should be hooking up with more women. Like never do the thing that you just should be doing just to do it. If you want to do it and it's something that you're like on the path of, okay, we're on like a normal, quote unquote, normal path.
Yeah.
Then do that. Where like a lot of people will say like, how come you and Ben aren't married at this point? And I'm like,
marriage is dead. Sorry, no offense to everybody.
I think marriage can be beautiful, but it's like, I don't want to plan a wedding.
I don't want to plan a wedding. I'll plan a party.
I don't want to. I don't want to think about a guest list. I don't
I'll come.
feel like I'm in. You are always coming.
I would love to come. I'm always coming. Oh, there's a breeze. Be careful.
Uh-oh, she's wet again.
Oh no.
Get the hair dryer.
Is your dad's hair dryer available? You know what I think it is for us too? Like I didn't realize how much I needed to have like self-love. Like I didn't really have self-love.
1000%.
And so I needed validation from this human. Like, you'll never leave me, right? Because there's paperwork.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I didn't realize like, oh, I just didn't have any fucking self-love. And that's always the journey. But like, and I'm still getting there, but I have more self-love than I've ever had.
Yeah. And that's, I was telling you, me and Rachel Bloom were talking about limerence. And I was like, you think you might be a little limerent too? Where it's like, part of solving limerence is self-love.
Yeah.
I had a friend who texted me right after being like, I don't think I like my boyfriend. He's just kind of like boring and whatever. And I was like, I think you're a limerent because I think you guys are in the stage of your relationship where like things are comfortable now and there's not that cat and mouse anymore. And like you are very driven by like the drug of wanting to be desired and like the person that like is kind of like holding you at an arm's length. And I was like, read this attachment project website and stuff.
What's the website?
It's the Attachment Project.
Are you talking about like anxious things that like?
Yes. And she was like, so I always want like the guy who's doing like really, really well in life because then I feel like I'm doing really well in life. And she's like, and then if they're not doing well, I don't feel like I'm doing well. And I was like, I've had the same thing where it's like you see your partner as like the validation of who you are. And so like maybe they're not killing it at their job. And so you started to feel like a little lower about yourself or they're doing well at your job and you start to feel a little higher about yourself. And it's like, no, you need to get in touch with yourself and how you feel about that person.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Because I had a really Cody family.
A what?
Codependent, like really like codependent
family.
Like where we kind of like, if the family's not doing, nobody's doing well. Like
yes.
if dad's not doing well, we all have to be like upset about it. Or
yes.
like, and that's so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I think that's just an immigrant thing because you have nobody else, right?
So you have a codependent family too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that I learned really early on like this group mentality that was like very unhealthy.
I've been guilty of it where I'm like, this person's not doing well and they're a reflection of me.
Interesting.
No, they're not.
Wait, break that down.
Like if I am really close with a friend even, and I would see, oh, that person did something that I find embarrassing. Like
that's a reflection of who you
that
are.
I would start spiraling and going, oh my God, who am I if this is who I'm friends with?
Wow.
You know, and it's like,
that's like codependency 101.
People make mistakes.
Yeah.
You have to hold that space for your friends, but also not let it affect how you think of yourself.
It's so hard. Yeah, because you have to have this like hard, you know.
And you also think, oh, well, if other people are thinking that person did something wrong, they're going to think that me by association, I'm a bad person because I'm friends with that. Like, it's like, chill.
Do you do check the facts? That's
What's
my
that?
main thing. So that's my main therapy thing that I do. I have like this incredible therapist. He's like, you're depressed. But he is very like, check the facts. Like, okay, is that a crazy thing? Would you ever judge somebody else by their friends? Like a little, but right? But would that change like who they are to you? Probably not. Like checking actual facts.
If it's something like sexual crimes or whatever,
oh God,
do I judge their friends after if they stand by them? I kind of do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of gray area before sexual crime.
Yeah. Jesus.
You
like
know?
you can't go to like number 11. You know what I mean? But like for me with jealousy, for example, like that's a good thing to check the facts. Like I'll go like, why is she talking to that girl? Why is she having that call? Why is she having like,
yes.
And then I'm like, check the facts. She's in my bed right now.
Yeah.
Like she comes home to me every night.
You're in her DMs. I'm in her bed.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we live together. Like we cook together. We have every meal together. Like the checking the facts thing is like a hard thing because my imagination goes like wild.
I do the same thing. And Ben reminds me all the time. He's like, Remy, I choose you every day.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
It is really nice.
But it's also like, I don't know.
Then why are you talking to that fucking girl, huh? I don't know what that is.
Do you guys have any openness in your relationship?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I do not want her anywhere near anyone. And I think she feels the same way.
Nice.
It's like I want to choose her every day and I want her to choose me.
Yeah.
I feel
and there are people in E&M relationships that they are choosing the other person every day. But for you guys, this is what works for both of you.
Yeah. And I think for me, sex is like, I'm a little more like slack with it. So for her to get to the point where she was sexual with another person, it would have to be like a very spiritual connection and a very like solid thing.
Yeah.
So for her to get there, it would be over between us.
Right.
Because we were kind of dating people and like I was having sex with people and she was like holding hands with someone and I was like, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, how is this fair?
Imbalance.
Yeah.
It's like not so cool.
It's not so cool. But to me, sex was such a like disconnected thing. And that's when I realized like, I don't actually need this.
Okay. Do you feel more comfortable receiving sexual?
No, I have a very hard time receiving.
Okay.
Compliments, anything sexual. It just like bounces right off. Like I'm waterproof.
Teflon.
Yeah.
Even with her.
With her, I'm getting better. Like she'll be like, you look beautiful. And I'm like, thanks. And she's like, did you hear me? Kind of a thing, you know?
Did you
like,
process that?
Yeah. Like you look beautiful. And I'm
Yeah.
like, thank you. Like it's something, even sexually, it's something that took me a long time, you know, to like be able to just like receive.
What are the things that she can do to make you more comfortable?
With hearing it or with like being able to?
Being like, I'm specifically thinking about my difficulty being able to receive oral for a long time.
Interesting. Like my thing at first
and
was like
a little bit now.
Really?
Yeah.
My thing was like always like, you're just doing this because you know I want it.
Right.
And then it's like, so?
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
Does that take anything away from the fact that she's doing it? Because I'm like, I want you to want it.
But if she says something like, I want to eat your pussy so badly right now,
I'd be
will
like,
that turn you on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
And if she brings her head up and she's like, you taste amazing. I want to do this for 15 more minutes.
Love that.
That makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny because I just did a 2 dykes and a mic. And one of the questions was like, my girlfriend never tells me that my pussy tastes good. Mm-hmm. Which is such a weird specific thing. Like, no guy's like, tell me my dick tastes like chocolate. It's like your dick tastes okay today, baby. You washed it. for women, it's such a thing. I was like so like self-conscious all the time. Like I would like aggressively scoop and like taste it always and be like, is it okay? Is it okay? And now I'm just like, now
Scoop.
I'm a scooper. Yeah. I'm like, everybody scoop the puss before you go out. And now I'm just like, I'm getting more comfortable.
Like, pits.
Scoop. Check the butt too, just in case. Yeah. How deep is this going to get?
Okay, we're good.
And now I'm a little more comfortable with like, yeah, like, you know, she's doing this because she wants to, like, because she'll say a thing where she's like, do you know how hard it is to eat a pussy that you don't want to eat? And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
People
like,
aren't going to force themselves into that. Yeah.
Like I would never just continuously eat a pussy I don't want to eat.
But it is nice to be told, like, I love when somebody says you taste amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't before Ben because I was like, I don't believe you, you fucking liar.
Because you're Teflon too.
I'm Teflon.
Yeah. But you know you taste good because you tasted it before you served it.
Of course I have.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if our own pussy tastes good to us because it's like our own thing. I wonder that too. Because you know when you like go and you kiss, like you can't really feel it. Like you feel it on your lips, but you don't really feel it on your hand.
You kiss what?
Like, you know when you kiss your own hand? You know when you kiss like your elbow like this? And you can't really feel it?
Okay, yeah.
Come on. No? Anybody else?
If I'm kissing myself,
mirror,
it's not my hand, it's my shoulder.
Yeah. So like you feel it more on your lips, like not really on your shoulder.
Yes. So
I wonder if it's that same kind of thing where it's like, tastes pretty good.
Yeah, it's like the chef loves what they're serving up.
Exactly.
But I think when the chef likes it, it means that the audience will probably like it too.
Just eat it. Even if I don't taste perfect, like eat it. I'll eat yours. I'm never going to be like, honey, get in the shower. Like, I just love it. Like, I think about eating pussy all the time. Like, I think about her pussy all the time. When she's like up on stage, like she was getting an award the other day. I was like, I know what your pussy looks like. We say that to each other.
Will you eat it after a workout?
Oh yeah.
Will you eat it after?
I'll eat it on a period. I don't care.
Okay,
I literally don't care. Like once I'm into it, I'm like,
I've actually never eaten a period before because I've never.
It's not like coming out. It's not like squirting out. You
right.
know what I mean?
Like Lindsay Metzler said this in one of our earliest episodes. She's like, it doesn't come out of your clit.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could just be licking the clit and fingering inside.
But like, what does the blood cum combo taste like if you
like
do
mercury? You know?
Yeah.
A little like irony.
Yeah.
Like a little metally.
Yeah.
A little bit of metal.
You're like, I'm a vampire.
Yeah, I love blood. No, it doesn't really like get in your mouth that much. You know what I mean? Like I remember I've had like horror stories when I was like, you know, high school and guys would eat me out in the dark and come up and be like, I'm like, oh, you got a little something
they used to call it clown.
Clown?
Remember when like people would talk about like, oh, like, I'm going to say Stanley Steamer, but like
who is that?
It's a vacuum company.
Oh, I'm like, is that a comic?
No, but like they would talk about like there were different names for different sex acts.
And it was called clowning?
And somebody was like, have you ever clowned? And I'm like, what is that? And they're like, you know, when they're like eating you out on your period and then like they come up and their face is all red.
I get
it's
it.
like
remember those things? There was like a bunch of them, like when you're like having sex with her and then you punch her and then she
That's
tries to get out. Those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Or it's like she's got cum in her mouth and then you punch her, which don't ever punch people unless they like explicitly ask to be. But that one was called like strawberry shortcake because it was like the mix of blood and cum.
Ridiculous. Yeah. And by the way, we were like telling those jokes, being like, isn't that hilarious? Women abuse.
And I was like 11 too.
Yeah,
and
same.
just being like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah,
do you like me yet?
Hey, do you know that how you like punch a woman? That's so funny. It's like, yeah, I went through that. I was in Virginia. Like, Jesus.
Fast forward a few years, like there was some comic that made a joke about punching women and I was like, no. And he was like way senior to me.
Yeah.
And it was me and two other women who work in comedy but aren't comics. And he was like, what, we don't say that anymore? And we all go, no, we don't.
Good.
You know, like we just like shut it down. Like I never would have said that to him before. I wouldn't have felt the agency. I wouldn't have felt it was necessary. But also I do consider this person like somebody that I'm friendly with, that I was like, if you think that's okay, like we can't be friends.
We can't be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how it's like different now. Like I would always be me, the only girl in a group, you know? And then like the other day I was like,
and then I came along. No.
Yeah. And then I came along and now it's all women. I was on the road and I had 2 women on the road with me, and this guy was doing like a guest spot, and he came in and was talking about something like, I forget what it was, but basically like a rapey thing that happened with some comic. And like for the first time, the opinion was like on the girl's side.
Yeah.
Like I felt the difference of like the group mentality of like 3 women. And I was like, wow, this feels, I was like emotional.
No, I've even been with men who have stood up for those things before, who have been like, hey, that story doesn't sound consensual.
Yeah.
And then the guy telling the story who thought he was going to get a big
laugh,
like whatever, is like, oh shit. And it's like, good. I'm glad you feel all shit.
And you know, it's another thing that's really shifted since I've been gay. Like I have more women followers. I went from having 80% men to now having almost 50-50.
So now when you post a thirst trap, are you like, this is for the girls?
Oh yeah.
Do your thirst traps look different now that you are trying to appeal more to women than men?
I wouldn't say they're thirst traps. I just like to be like naked in public.
For sure.
Like it's like I really like
that's a good distinction because I will say I there was a butt post of yours that I was like hee hee, and then there was some comment being like classic female comedian using her body to like sell tickets or whatever, and it's like nobody ever says
I remember that one
when the male comics get naked.
I was like, the tickets were already sold out. I just showed my butt at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And I also like my butt, and I might as well show it before it becomes like a pancake. Just like drooping down my leg.
And then when it becomes a pancake, show that
I'm
too.
gonna show that too.
Yeah.
No, but like look at Bert. He's like fucking naked and he takes off his shirt every set.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah.
But I think they're saying that too because they're like, you're trying to get a male audience, and you're like, not necessarily.
I'm actually
like,
just trying to get women.
I want to, yeah.
I want women to feel like weirdly empowered by it. Mm-hmm. We're like, because like body parts are gross. Like the fact that we sexualize like a sack of skin on our chest is really weird to me. Like because it's connected to sexuality, right?
Yeah.
But like in reality, it's just this physical piece of skin.
Yeah.
And like we use it as like a bottle when we're kids, and then we like squish it as teenager, whatever. Like, and I just think it's funny.
I use it as a stress toy.
Exactly. But like, think about when you're like with a sister or a close friend and you're being funny and you like pull out one vagina lip, or you're like, you know, being like really gross. Like that's so funny. Like, and we're not there yet.
Yeah.
But I want to get there. I want to get there on my,
will.
you know, like I want to get big enough where like I'm in a stadium and I'm like pulling out a breast and being like, how is this hot? Like, how is this hot? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And people aren't like, you know, where it's like, ha ha ha, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want them to have like.
You could put it on the ticket. It's going to be an NC-17 show. There's going to be titties out.
Yeah. Rated R.
Like I just went to this sex show basically called Cirque du Squirt. Like we all knew that it was going to be a sex show. My friend Lola, she holds the record for volume squirting. Yeah, so she does a show.
I have goosebumps.
I know.
I need to find her. Will you give me
amazing.
her Insta?
I will.
Okay.
That episode is wild.
Yeah.
But everybody knew going in that that's what you're going to see. And
okay.
I think I've kept you for a very long time.
Okay, we can wrap it up.
Can I ask you something before we wrap up?
Of course.
So have you used a strap-on yet?
No.
Okay. And have you had one used on you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to use one?
Dying to get one. Can't wait. I already know what my dick looks like.
Okay. What is preventing you from doing that right
I just
now?
haven't done it like time. I've just been busy.
Okay.
And on the road. But I keep also researching whether the shorts one are better or if like the strap ones are better. I want one that goes inside also. Like a double.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay. And then beyond that, do you have any sexual goals now that you are living so fully and you're doing all the right stuff?
I want to squirt.
You want to squirt? Okay. I will put you in touch with Lola, or I'll send you a few episodes, and
so it can be learned.
It can be learned. Allegedly. But yeah.
Allegedly. Wait, one last little question. When you travel on the road, do you take a little like wet blanket?
No. I would usually just like put a teeny towel down.
A teeny one?
Yeah. Like
just a tiny squirt.
Just a tiny squirt. Yeah.
Tiny squirt's a cute shirt you should make.
Yeah. Little squirt.
Yeah, little squirt. Hey, what's up, my little squirt? I'm here to get it.
I think that's wet. Actually what our first tier on Patreon is called. That's little
really
squirt.
Funny.
Yeah.
You need to make that shirt. I would buy it. That's a cute shirt.
Okay.
We started so deep and then we got to little squirt.
And we got to little squirt. Do you have any assignments for me? Because I have been touch and go with the comes. Is there anything that you have done that have made your orgasms better, stronger?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of breathing stuff that I've gotten into lately where I'll literally like the cheesy thing of like lighting a candle in the dark.
Yeah.
Look at yourself in the mirror, like with your legs open and just like touch and breathe like really deep. I know like the breathing, getting like really holding it for releasing and just like not even like going in yet, just like lightly touching yourself and getting like really turned on, and then maybe not even masturbating that time.
Yeah.
Just stopping. And then the next day, like doing it again and sort of like
in for 4, out for 1.
In for 4, out for 4.
Oh, okay.
Like you go in for 4, hold it for 4, release.
Okay.
Getting a lot of like oxygen in your brain is important.
Cool. I love it. That sounds like a very doable
And then
assignment.
jog pussy porn always does it for me.
What is it?
Jog pussy porn?
What is that?
Female to male, trans. It's like men with pussies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if the touching and like the whole thing doesn't work, just go straight to
Straight to
the jog
that.
pussy porn.
Okay, great. Oh my God, wait, I have one more question.
Okay.
So I also noticed while looking at your Instagram, because on that post where I said Happy Annie,
Yeah.
Ariana Maddox congratulated you guys too.
Yeah.
You guys have become closer friends.
Yeah, we're friends. I haven't seen her because she's been like touring the world and like crushing.
So she is one of those people that when she got out of her relationship, I was like, oh my God, yay. She's going to get to be gay now because she's
Same.
also
I'm like,
bisexual.
hey, all right,
You're
what
like,
about me?
hello?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, go explore, baby, go. But she met someone, I think, early on and was like, and like fell really head over heels.
And that's the thing too, that I'm like, okay, just because I want her to doesn't mean she should.
I wanted her to too.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was like, as the second she became single, every single one of my gay friends were like, what's up with Ariana? What's up with Ariana?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen her in a long time. And, we were like, we're not super close. I mean, I would love to be more close, but I think she's amazing. I'm so glad that she turned such a shitty thing into like such an incredible turnaround for herself. And
Same.
she's fucking crushing.
Crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you guys, just because we want her to do more gay stuff
But hey,
does
wait.
not mean she has to.
We have Sophia Bush now. So
Really?
yeah, she's dating a soccer player.
Oh, a female soccer
Ashley
player.
Harris.
Oh my God.
Supposedly, but
Woohoo!
for real.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, wasn't that fun? Now this is part 2, recorded in March.
It continues.
It continues.
I bought a house, dude,
I'm excited for you. That's insane.
next to my sister's.
I can't believe. And now you're going through something else that I want.
Life's changed.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody how life has changed?
So I think it was kind of happening last time I talked to you, but I wasn't actually really sure what was going on.
Yeah.
I was having a lot of really crazy mood shifts. Like when I would PMS, it would just be like World War III with myself, like also bedridden in pain, migraines, weird, like my hands would get like frozen and I couldn't unfreeze them. Like these really weird things. I was also having these like ringing in my ears and this thing where I couldn't explain, where I felt really heavy, like where my body felt heavy and
Like sluggish?
Am I gonna? Yeah, like there was like a weight to my body that, and like I would have these like episodes of where I'm feeling really heavy, and I actually started to gain a lot of weight. I've always been like a super thin person all my whole life, like almost too thin, and then I got to a point where I was like, in my belly, I just looked like very
bloated.
tiny limbs, little belly, couldn't lose it. So then my gynecologist was like, you got to get your hormones tested. But I was on the road nonstop. So I kept missing it because to get your hormones tested, it has to be the 3rd day of your period. Exactly. So I kept missing it. And then I finally got tested 6 months after feeling all this. And I wasn't making any more progesterone, which is connected to so many things like brain function, brain fog, your heating and cooling system of your body, your appetite, how you burn weight. And so I started taking progesterone, and I realized I'm going through a thing called perimenopause, which is a period of time right before menopause. It can be 4 to 12 years before menopause. And now we're figuring out, there's no information about this before, but now we're figuring out that if you're 40 and you have all these symptoms, you're going through it. And if you're 40 and you don't have all these symptoms, you're still going through it.
Yeah, potentially.
It's just what happens around this age. Yeah.
It's so interesting. I mean, I want to talk about how you felt when you figured it out, but it's interesting because we did an episode on menopause like a few episodes back, and I was still very in the thick of the orgasm drought, and I looked into perimenopause for the first time because I was like, oh, maybe this is what it is. And when you were going through all that stuff, did you know like immediately this is a lady doctor or like a, you know what I mean, type of thing? Like how did you?
I thought I was depressed.
Uh-huh.
Like I thought it was like some kind of weird depression, or I knew that it was something's hormonal because during my PMS week, I would be like suicidal.
Okay.
And like I run a little on the depressive side because that's just like how I am. I'm like very hot, cold, but it was to the point where I was like, okay, nothing is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing's really wrong. Nothing's happened. But like I would just wake up and be like, I couldn't get out of bed. Like it would, I was like physically fatigued to the point where I was like, something's going on that's beyond my mind. I've been talking to my therapist and he was like, you got to get your hormones checked.
Yeah.
He's like, and I don't know about that stuff, but it's sounding like it's hormonal.
Mm-hmm. And for anybody who doesn't know about perimenopause, again, Jade said it can begin in someone in their 30s, but most often it starts into ages 40 to 44. And it's marked by changes in menstrual flow and length of cycle. Did you have any of those changes?
No, that's what was the difficult thing. My period didn't really change. But what happens when you start taking progesterone, which, by the way, progesterone is made from wild yams and beetroots.
Okay.
Like, can I just like eat a lot of beet salads?
Yeah.
So a lot of people like put it in their asshole, but I just take a little pill. And
wait, really?
Yeah, some people just do it like anally. They just put it like, because that's like the fastest way that goes into your
bloodstream.
I'm saying this incorrectly. I don't know if it's your bloodstream or your stomach that it needs to go to.
Okay.
But when you take progesterone all the time, that does mess up your cycle. So when you take progesterone, they tell you to take it on the 14th day of your cycle, which is 14 days after the first day of your period.
Uh-huh.
So you get your period and then you count 14 days from that first day and you start taking the progesterone and you take that for 13 days. And then you get off of it and then you come back again on the next cycle. The first round, Remy, I was like, I'm cured.
Yeah.
Like right away, my mood was like lifted. Like I was like, oh my God.
I think I remember you saying that.
I was like, I'm cured. And then I got off of it after the 14 days, literally the next day, like back to zero. Like
I feel like it's the same thing like when you get on an antidepressant and you're just like, I did it. I'm happy now. Like, I don't need this thing. I've always been this way. And it's like, no, you're this way because you took the medicine, you idiot.
I know, but I have a weird thing where I'm like, I don't want to feel dependent.
No, a lot of people have that.
But, you know, my doctor was like, okay, so if you were like diabetic, you're not going to take the fucking
exactly
medicine. You're just going to die. So I was going to take it all the time. And then on day 3 of taking it, like after this cycle thing, I felt like really sluggish. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it on the calculated times.
So you only take it on those times.
Yeah. So now I'm like, right now I'm on a progesterone. I'd call it progesterone kick.
A little, yeah.
I'm on a pro kick and feeling good.
Good. When they first told you, what was your feeling, or did you have multiple feelings?
I felt I had a hard time sort of, I don't know that I felt sad, but I did feel sort of this feeling of like, oh, it's an ending of an era.
Yeah.
Like I can have children, but it would be like a very difficult, I'm not fertile anymore. Uh-huh. And I also felt very angry because why didn't we know this stuff in school? Like, why do I know how to knit a sweater like that? And I don't know about my finances and I don't know about my pussy. Mm-hmm. Like, why is this stuff not?
You learned how to knit a sweater in school?
Yeah. And I know how to sew too. What? And I know how to make really good Chex Mix.
Wow.
But that's about it. That's all.
No, I mean, we've talked about this and it's because they didn't really care about female health too much in school, but also in the medical field. These things weren't looked into until more female doctors started entering in and like being like, hey, this is something that we need to look into. These are things that we've experienced. And I think I did look into it for you that you could still freeze an egg during perimenopause.
You can. And it's like still a possibility, but it's a time of life where you like start to have to make these choices quickly. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it kind of felt like I don't want to have a baby. I just want to be like a career lesbian at this point. But like, there was something about it like, no, you don't tell me when I can't have, like, I tell you when I can't have. So it was like this weird thing where I felt like, I just felt I felt kind of angry. I felt like angry towards men for not having to go through this. Like I felt angry towards like maybe my mom was going through all this and she never knew. I felt angry because like it's such a huge force that changes my entire life and like nobody warned me about it. Like, so I had all these, I felt very emotional about it. Like you feel like a different person. Like I'm starting to kind of get used to it now. Like yesterday I started PMSing and I had a bad day yesterday, but at least now I know like, okay, it's going to be like one day. It's not going to be like 2 weeks, a week, 2 weeks, you know, like I know it's temporary. But yeah, I'm like angry about the fact that people don't know about it. So it's cool to like sort of share the information. And like the more that I talk about it, the more my friends are like, wait, whoa, what? Like they're like, are you losing your hair? Are you doing? And it's like the symptoms around me are like fucking like they're like medicine commercials.
Yeah. Can I read the symptoms off and you tell me if check, yes, they've happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So mood changes. We know that happened. Trouble concentrating.
Yeah, you get really crazy brain fog. They say every 16 words you forget.
No.
Which is great for what I do for a living.
Literally. Yeah. Headaches.
Yes. Like bad ones, like sensitive to light, migraine stuff.
Vaginal dryness.
No, still a WAP.
Of course she is.
I was really nervous about that. I was like, if I lose my WAPness, like who am I?
You came to my house sopping wet with your hair.
I was
and I would
always wet.
Expect nothing less. Trouble with sleep.
Yes. Like, so sometimes I'll just wake up in the middle of the night for no reason, like with my heart racing. That's like a thing.
Horrible. Hot flashes, night sweats, or vasomotor symptoms.
Yeah. So that's the hand stuff. Like that's like the, like your hand, like you get like stiff hands. And I would say I don't get heat flashes yet, but I do get like really hot in the middle of the night.
And a lot of us have night sweats. So
yeah, that's just from
we're going to move on how to test for it later. So if you're freaking out, don't completely freak out.
I don't want to freak anybody out. The whole reason of this is like, once I figured it out, now I can deal with it.
Exactly.
Like, I think the anger came from not knowing.
Yeah.
So.
And you were like, I'm sad. I'm stupid. I can't move. Why? And so it is kind of like, okay, at least there's an explanation.
Exactly. And now like I'm more in charge of it and I'm like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah. Breast tenderness?
No.
Worse premenstrual symptoms? Yes.
Yes. Cramps are like insane, like in bed with a heating pad. Like I'm not going to karate. Sorry, tampon commercials. You're full of shit. Like, let's go dive in a pool.
Let's do cartwheels in a sundress. Changes in sexual desire / lower sex drive.
Yes. And that was like one of the main things that I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Why aren't I horny anymore?
So I was like not as horny anymore. And I quit smoking weed. You know this.
Yeah.
I've been kind of smoking since I've been in Virginia. But like, I like was not feeling horny at all. And I was like, is this from like not smoking weed and being like kind of sober and like kind of like, but then I have waves of it now with the progesterone. Like it has kind of come back a little bit.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because when we were recording, you were so horny.
It's really your house. That house
there's
really
just,
makes
there's
me
just
horny.
a vibe.
There's a vibe.
There's also fatigue. Yes. Check that off.
But it's fatigue in a weird way. Like it's where like your body feels
inertia. Like
yeah,
my mom always says suffering from inertia. Like when you haven't moved in a long time, it's hard to get moving again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Irregular periods, also called perimenopause periods.
Mine are fine. Mine didn't get that crazy.
Okay. Discomfort during sex.
I'm a dyke now.
I think that comes with the dryness.
But I was feeling like some weird stuff towards the end with having sex where like that's another thing. I don't know if it's on your list, but you feel your pussy all the time.
Whoa.
Like it's not bad or good, but you can feel it more.
I
like,
have
like
that
feeling. Yeah. It's like a feel, like you just feel
like
it.
It's heavier and it's there.
Yeah.
And you can also feel it when it's like open.
Yeah.
See, I got my hormones tested and they were like, no.
Well, maybe because there's 3 things that you can have that are higher or lower. There's testosterone, which is sex drive. Like sometimes women start to grow little chin hairs. That's like when your testosterone is high. And then there's estrogen, which controls mood, brain fog. Estrogen also controls like brain waves. Like, so like if you're like, I'm hungry, like it tells your brain like That's lack of estrogen.
Okay.
And then there's progesterone, which is like energy, digestion, weight loss.
What's the one that makes you feel your vagina all the time?
I think that's the estrogen.
Okay. What was the thing you were going to say before?
Changing my diet has really helped me.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like feeling really sluggish, and my friend was like, just do Whole30 for like 1 month. Like you'll feel such a difference. And I was like, okay. I know. And then
wait, Whole30 is the one where you only eat like
tears. I'm just kidding. You just eat, you don't eat sugar, gluten, or dairy.
Or processed
foods. Yeah.
Okay. But it's not the one that you have to journal every day and work out every day and like read a book. Okay.
No.
Have you heard of that one?
There's a diet.
Yeah. No, that's 30 hard.
Is that?
And then there's 75.
Oh, I'm like, is that Morning Pages?
No.
Oh, whoa, no, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a whole.
No, yeah. This was just about, for me, like I think the mood thing helped the most when I cut out sugar. Like I used to have honey in my tea every day. I just don't like little things. Like I used to eat chips. I used to eat like chocolate. Like I just don't anymore.
Did you find substitutes or like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I eat dates, or I'll eat like fruit, or, like sugar-free stuff, which is probably shitty for you too. But like this is like my kind of snack now. Like I'll do like a snap pea. And this probably has too much sodium too. But like, yeah, adjusting your diet is like a big, big thing. And eating things that are like nutrient heavy that help you build estrogen. And
interesting.
So like spinach, dates, yams. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Are you still going down the line?
No. The line is done. Now we're moving to, thank God. I love those medicine commercials where it's like, if you experience nausea, diarrhea, death, talk to your healthcare provider. I'm like, how is a dead person supposed to talk to their healthcare provider?
It's basically just covering them from getting sued.
Yeah.
At that point.
I know.
But yeah, like I look at my niece and I'm like, enjoy your life, you bitch. Because like I had no idea this was even coming. Like, so the house, I had this like potential renter coming through, and she's 61. And I was like, hi, so the house can be a little cold in this room, but I run hot all the time. And they're like, you already? I'm like,
me already.
I feel like at first I was like angry about this era being done of my life, but now I feel like I've entered this like kick-ass, this like better era.
Yeah.
Like where my mind is switching over, where like now it's just about like, yeah, this stuff is happening. How do I make it work for me? And like, how do I better myself to make it all work?
I think we were talking to Candace Bushnell a few years ago about menopause. And she had written in one of her books that it's like the first time that you don't feel super tied to your gender anymore. Like you just feel like a release as like an adult, because you eventually stop, getting your period, and you're not thinking about getting pregnant anymore. I mean, I don't know how you guys could have an accident that would make you think about getting pregnant all the time, but she said it just like feels like good. And I know obviously there's like a huge sense of loss too. Especially
that's what I felt.
Yeah. Like it's so annoying even to hear the term biological clock. Like it really used to piss me off that like we had to deal with this thing that like, if you have a dick, if you have balls, like you can get someone pregnant on your deathbed. And I would be like, shut up. Like, why does it have to be so different for us? And like, it just is. And that's why like people who do want to freeze their eggs and stuff, like go do it. But it's annoying. I mean, more than annoying, just to be told like something is not an option for you anymore.
Right. And what the crazy thing is, like, it almost feels like a punishment for not having a baby, because like when you do have a baby, your body creates all these extra hormones, and like it keeps you sort of like younger longer.
Yeah.
So like after your pregnancy, you have this like sort of like basically this little like side pile of hormones that you get to like keep you kind of young to take care of the baby. And it sort of feels like that episode, not to like bring up Candace Bushnell again, but Sex and the City, where like Carrie goes to this party and her shoes get stolen, and the girl who has a baby is like, well, we don't care about those things. It's like, okay, well, I chose not to have a baby, and that doesn't mean I'm useless.
Yeah.
I just bought this fucking house. Like, I'm going to send out an email to all my friends. Like, hey, I've been to all your baby showers. I've been to all your weddings. Like, I'm not doing that. Send me a fucking vacuum.
Yeah.
Like,
Send me a present.
So there is that.
I was literally just talking about that episode with my friend the other day because I guess there's a Sex and the City marathon running on my TV right now.
That's me all the time. I can't believe
it.
But
my friend was watching that episode and she texted me. She goes, how fucking unhinged was it of Carrie to be like, I'm throwing myself a wedding to myself, buy me shoes or whatever. And it's like, we understand the sentiment. Just throw yourself a birthday party.
Yeah, the wedding to self is like intense. But I feel like there is like a bigger thing about that. Like,
yes, no, she's totally right in the, we keep coming to celebrate your life events. Celebrate one of mine. Okay, just throw yourself a party, a wedding to yourself, not a life event that you're actually doing.
Just like have a dinner party.
Have a dinner party. Have a book launch. There's so much stuff you're actually doing.
Yeah. Like have a clothing swap.
Or just be like, listen, somebody stole my shoes at your fucking house. Can I be reimbursed?
No, but the woman was like, sorry. Like when she finally reimbursed her, she sort of like shames her for being single and like taking care of herself and stuff. And I don't know. It's just such a weird thing that I like. And then also like I get into the whole like, oh my God, did I choose this path or did it choose me? And like all this stuff with like our career and like the healthier that I get mentally, like the less I want to do stand up and the less I want to be on the road and like how difficult it is to be healthy on the road. And so I've just been making like these big life choices and like some stuff came up with like my agents and like all this stuff is like sort of coming to the surface because I'm like taking a deeper look at all these like unhealthy traits that I had, which were sort of just like numbing me through things that I felt unhappy about.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey. It's been a lot of lows, but it's also been like a lot of ups and a lot of like realizations.
And how has your girlfriend been with you through this?
Incredible. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, oh my God, thank God I'm with a woman, you know, because like we're both on Whole30 together and like we help each other through it. And like, there is a part of me that has lost this sort of, like, I don't feel as like sexy in the same way. Like it's hard for me to get like fully dress up and feel very sexy. It's like very rare. Like I have to really do it up. Like, whereas in life, I felt more attractive.
Yeah.
And letting go of the need to feel attractive towards men has like something clicked in my brain with that.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that like misses it. Like where I see a hot young guy and I'm like, oh, he probably thinks I'm old. Like that like that thought comes into my mind versus like he thinks I'm hot. Like, but it feels this sort of like this power that I feel from it. Like,
yeah.
I know more than him. Or
Are
I know
you
like,
able
this knowledge
to still feel sexy for yourself though?
Yeah, like I feel sort of like I think I just like who I am. And now it's about letting go that it took me so long to get here.
I know.
Like as a comic too.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God. No, that's such a real thing for a lot of people in so many different ways that like once you finally achieve a thing that you've really wanted, you can't some people fully can't enjoy that because they see all the years that they hadn't as like, what a waste of time. And it's like, it really isn't a waste of time. And I fully understand because I feel this way about a lot of things where I'm just like, how come I couldn't just like get to this fucking point? But it's like, the thing that you were saying, like, did I choose this or was it thrust upon me? Like sometimes you just come to things when it's time.
I know. I'm just like, I wish it happened when like my ass had more elasticity. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, there was a point where I felt very like comfortable naked. And now I'm starting to understand like why people feel a little more like I have not been exercising the way that I used to.
Yeah.
And that is from like, just like, I'm just more tired.
Yeah.
But when I exercise, Remy, like I get so
good.
Like, it's beyond like the happiness. Like I do Zumba, like because the endorphins mix with the progesterone is like, it's like a drug now. And then I'm like, but I just can't drive myself to do it every day like I used to. Like the fatigue is just so real. I'm like, I don't care.
You can always do a lazy girl workout though too.
What's that?
Just lay in bed, fucking do leg lifts.
Like pool, like go to a pool and like float.
Just float. Yeah. Or just like go and do like a walk instead of a run.
I've just been walking. That's like all I do here. I'm like, I'm going to go on a walk with my tea.
Yeah. I've been rewatching that show from ABC Family, Greek.
Love Greek.
And I've been super bedridden because of it, because I'm just like, I want to keep binging. And then one day I was like, okay, just do one episode at the gym. And so I went down, I did a little walk for 10 minutes. I did a little elliptical for 10 minutes. I did the new sideways elliptical. So fun. 10 minutes.
Like
Stairs
this?
for 10 minutes. That shit.
Yeah.
The episodes are 40 minutes long. I just did a nice little thing for my body. And the endorphins, I was like, I forgot this is real.
You feel I like working out changes your brain chemistry, but it really is just like about getting yourself there. You have to sort of trick yourself. Like, if I do this, I can have this. Like, if I do this, I don't have to do stand up tonight.
No, but it's so much better than going to the gym in order to be like, I want to be smaller. Like,
right.
That is such a bad headspace that I was in for most of my life. That's one of the things I lament. I'm like, how did I not just like go to the gym to feel good?
My thing was like, how did I, like the men thing, obviously, like not being gay earlier. And then like, also like not really knowing my voice comedically for a long time.
Yeah.
And like, I've been having a lot of like this industry and like how when we become a certain age, like Morgan Murphy has this great joke, like that women in their 40s are a lot like athletes. Like we both become irrelevant when we're 40.
And then just start teaching instead of doing.
Yeah. Look who's here. Is Mimi with you? My niece just got here. Sorry.
Ooh.
And this is Betty Jo, Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
Amelia, do you want to come say hi? I'm doing a podcast. Come say hi.
She doesn't have to.
Her hair is a mess. It's really windy outside. Come here. It's wind. Hey, Cheryl. Cheryl, leave it.
Is Cheryl a dog?
Cheryl's my dog.
I'm that.
You want this? Look, this is Remy. Say hi. How old are you? One more. Yeah.
Wow. She's so cute.
Yeah, it's been nice. I can like squish her little curly hair.
Okay, well, I'll let you go soon. But before we do, if anybody is thinking about perimenopause, go get your hormones checked. There is a new thing, actually, you know, Clear Blue that checks for pregnancy. They came out with a menopause thing now that you can do
an at-home test.
An at-home test, yeah. You don't always need to see a healthcare provider. Most people notice and tolerate the changes in their bodies without a formal diagnosis. If you have symptoms that interfere with your daily activities, though, see a healthcare provider.
But you know what? Just get your hormones checked.
Yeah.
Like the end. Just know what's going on. Yeah.
It's good to know. And if you experience any of these, you should reach out to a healthcare provider right away. And those are blood clots in menstrual discharge, spotting between periods, vaginal bleeding after sex, and emotional symptoms interfering with your ability to function on a daily basis, which is what it sounds like you were going through.
Yeah. And knowledge is power. Like as scary as it sounds, like I know a lot of us like put things off. The more you know, like the better you're going to feel.
100%.
And like the more you know, the younger you're going to look. If it's not it's not a health thing, it's a vain thing. Like just know that like something like I had this brightness that was like doled out when I wasn't having it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're looking bright. And
Thanks.
If anybody wants to see more videos, Jade has been putting them up on TikTok, and they're very educational and fun. And
I mean, as long as TikTok is around.
It's not going anywhere.
You don't think so? Because I stopped posting. I was like, nah.
Oh, I started posting more. I was like, if we're going somewhere, then whatever. This isn't embarrassing anymore.
Yeah. No, thank you for letting me talk about it. It's been like all I want to talk about and like educate people on. So
of course.
I really appreciate you.
No, and you know what's funny is we were talking about how some things happen later because they're meant to. I haven't put up your episode yet because I was like, I know that there's something else that's going to end up that we have to tack on to this thing. And this was
didn't
it.
want to me just talking about like how much I like eating pussy.
It's important too. It's important too, especially because we've had a few episodes of women since I recorded with you being like, I think I'm just gay. And I'm like, I need Jade after this because this is the timeline of being like,
Yeah.
I'm so much gayer now.
It's true. No, but I appreciate you. I love you. I'll see you. I'll be out there in May.
Okay, great. I love you. Enjoy the new house. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi to the whole fam, and keep feeling great and taking care of yourself. Jade, it has been so nice having you back on this podcast. Can you tell everybody where they can find you online?
Yeah, all my socials are at Jade Catta-Preta.
Oh, and June, I'm doing a gay tour for Pride.
Yay!
Without and them. So we're going to be literally like 20 cities in June. So look up jadecattapreta.com for dates.
Yay. Okay, Jade, this has been so fun. Like I said, I just have to ask you one question after a sexual experience, which this has been. Jade Catta-Preta, did you finish?
I feel pretty good. I feel like I had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I like my nipples got hard a couple times, so that really does it for me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
Guys, thank you so much for coming too. If you have any questions or any comments on this or any other episode, DM us at How Come Podcast. Follow us. Follow me at Remy Casimir. If you have a first time coming story that you want to share, send it to us, or you can post it anonymously on howcomepodcast.com. We have a whole map where people just post as much or as little information about their first success stories from the podcast. And if you want to see this last part with Jade, we have it unedited with video on patreon.com/howcome. That's where you can get all of your episodes early. And if you're not interested in that, just rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us so much, and we love it. And we'll see you next time on How Come. Bye.
Bye.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help, 'cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just...
For this Marvel section, I wanted to give a shout out, but unnamed, because I'm not sure if he wants me to give this shout out, but to a new companion who I'm so excited listens to the podcast. We've been talking about how I've been living with my dad, and this is the apartment that I grew up in. So a lot of the people who work in the building, I've known them my entire life, or they came in when I was like a teenager or something like that. And the other day, I'm walking through the basement of the building and I'm saying hi to the guys, and I hear someone playing the How Come theme song. And I said to Ben, I was like, I think I just heard How Come. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. But I didn't want to like blow up anyone's spot because, you know, listening to it can be a very personal experience. And so a few days later, I'm walking through and I'm like, hey, to like one of my favorite people. And he's like, hey, I have to tell you something. I'm a huge fan of your podcast. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's so good. And I was like, so happy and like also a little embarrassed, but also so happy. And yeah, he said he hasn't been able to stop listening. And I just wanted to give a shout out to him. So excited that you're listening. Also to all the new companions, so excited that you're here. If you haven't listened to the beginning of the podcast, that's where the real meat and potatoes is. Obviously, every episode now is amazing, but the beginning journey is really where it's at. So yeah, thank you again to you. I'm not saying your name. Maybe I will if you give me the okay. But yeah, what a fun time. And yeah, thanks to the rest of you for sticking around because it means a lot. Okay, bye.